Lot 181 by Lester Beale for the Rural Electrification Administration is one of the greatest American posters of the 20th century. Now, this is my opinion, and there's no way to prove it, but it's one of the posters that I've always dreamed of being able to actually include in an auction, and was able to get my hands on one for this sale. And it truly is a momentous occasion, at least for myself, if not for the poster community in general. The image is just the epitome of American down-home optimism. A young boy and a young girl leaning over their wooden fence in their backyard, staring off into their limitless future, the sky of which is represented in the red and white stripes of the American flag. The indication of the American flag, the hint of the sort of overarching protection of the American state, their entire future laid out before them, the sophisticated photomontage, the way the slats of the fence parallel the stripes of the flag. The poster contains so much hope in so little graphism to really inspire an entire nation. The job of the Rural Electrification Administration was to bring electricity into the hinterlands of America. And while this seems like such a natural thing for us today in the 21st century, back in the 1930s, it really was a daunting task. Not just technically bringing electricity to the homes, but convincing users how important electricity would be for their futures. And that's what Beale does in this image by implying that with electricity, the hopes and the dreams and the futures of everybody's children will be met. From a graphic point of view, again, the image appears simple, but the graphic design concepts behind it are really so sophisticated, making this not only an excellent example of avant-garde American design, but truly one of the great, if not the greatest, American posters of the last century. An absolute icon of the American way of life, of the New Deal under Roosevelt, and of everything that we take for granted as Americans today. Lot 193, Stop 'em to Sell 'em, Jean Carlou's poster from 1947, which was part of a larger series published and produced by the New York City Transit Authority for the New York subway system. Now, we've seen posters that the British companies use to advertise travel. This poster and other posters in the series were used to promote the idea of advertising within the subway systems of New York. The idea being, look how many people are seeing this poster, imagine if you had your ad here. Now, Jean Carlou, one of the great French artists, was one of the many talented modernist designers who were employed by the New York Transit Authority to work on this campaign. And this poster is so simple, and yet in its simplicity is so powerful. It's an excellent example of how graphic design can be used to its fullest purpose. Stop 'em to sell 'em. The hand, as if seen through the moving windows of a train, is showing people how direct and how immediate an advertisement underground can be. In the middle, you have the logo for the New York City Transit Authority, which shows a train coming at you through a tunnel. The image is stark, the image is bold, the image is straight to the point. When you say it's a stop 'em to sell 'em, it certainly seems to be very colloquial, but I think it's also an attempt on the artist's part to show how truncated these messages are. When you're in the subway, messages are coming at you very fast, so you can't take the time to stop them and sell them. You really have to stop them and sell them and move on. And the poster just emphasizes that speed with its typography and with its imagery. A perfect marriage of image and text and idea. Lot number 194 is a personal favorite of mine, I have to confess. I collect Czech posters, and one of the great Czech artists of the last century, one of the great Czech modernist artists, was Ladislav Sutnar, who actually came to New York to work on the Czech Pavilion for the New York World's Fair in 1938. While he was in America working on the World's Fair, the Second World War broke out and he was unable to return home, so he spent the rest of his life in New York where he worked. This is a previously undocumented poster by Sutnar, and yet every element of it exudes his trademark works. Orange was his favorite color, and orange is abundant here in this image. He was also very fond of putting text at rakish angles compared to imagery, which we also see very clearly here. Looking at the text, we see that this was a poster advertising a very esoteric exhibition of the Workers' Gymnastic Federation of the USA and the Eastern Division of Sokol, which was a Czech nationalist sports movement. The exhibition was held on Randall's Island here in Manhattan. And the photograph that you see in the middle, which when I first saw it, I actually thought were tire tracks, in fact are hundreds of men lined up on a field performing their precise gymnastic routines, almost like synchronized swimming. The poster is not signed by Sutnar, but is undeniably his work, and it's just a great find to be able to come across this. He was a master designer. I think in 1947, which was not long after he came to America, he would have been delighted to have been involved in a project that did relate to his home country, in that the Sokol movement was Czech. And a poster like this must be very rare because a lot of posters advertise exhibitions that lasted for a long period of time. You know, a show that might have run for months, an exhibition that might have gone on for weeks, if not several days. This exhibition took place on one day at one time, and so we have to assume that far fewer posters were printed to advertise this event than, say, a longer running exhibition of something else, which probably explains why the poster is so rare and that a copy has never surfaced before. I can't remember the last time I put together an auction or even attended an auction that was so complete and so exciting as this sale. Fabulous images from all over the world, great examples of American posters, great examples of Russian posters, French Art Deco posters of the highest caliber, all together in a single auction. It really is one of the most exciting, if not the most exciting poster auction Swann has ever put together. No matter what your interests in posters are, there's going to be something in this auction for you to at least appreciate, if not actually end up competing for.